What's your opinion on the Epstein conspiracies? You know, honestly, dude, I've been reading a lot of the files and I am deeply disgusted. But one of the things that intrigued me the most about the Epstein files, have you guys seen Jeffrey Epstein's list? Have you guys seen the fucking price list? This was apparent just buried into the files. This guy had a menu from his plug, right? Now let's go over this real quick. Hold on, let me pull it up. No, I'm gonna pull this up. Let's talk about it, dude. No, let's do a compare and contrast. Who had the better plug, me or Jeff Epstein? Hold on. Okay, here we go. So the Epstein files recently, like just the past week, had a giant fucking drop, like a huge drop. I'm actually going to zoom out on this a little bit so you can see it better. They dropped a huge amount of like, I was about to say unredacted, but that's a blatant lie. They're so redacted, it's not even funny. But they just dropped a bunch more Epstein files, which like, first off, we were supposed to get them in full unredacted like a year ago, okay? Congress can suck my cock and balls, all right? But either way, this was one of the files that was recovered. And in this is allegedly a menu. You can even see the document number in the files right here. If you guys would like to go look this up on the .gov websites yourself, feel free. The number's right here. It is EFTA 00556982. You can see it in the top right here. But this is a menu from Epstein's plug, okay? And let's just go through and look at everything this guy has on here. 3 different types of, 2 different options. DM, LS, dilated. This guy was tapped the fuck in. 20 and 30 milligrams. Dexedrine, dronabinol. We actually have 2 different types of, and crystal itself, and Cialis, right? Which, remind me again, chat, what the fuck is Cialis again? What does that one do? That's like the one thing on this list I'm not super familiar with. Viagra? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, dude. That makes a lot of sense. But what's really interesting here is, A, this guy has like half-lives and like dosage instructions on the right side here. And then he has these pricing options, which I've seen a lot of debate as to what these pricing options mean. A lot of people are saying quantity, but I don't think so. I don't think, I'm not sure what the 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, and 2,000 and up are, but I don't think it's quantity because, for example, like 1 gram, 500 to 1,000, $65. Okay, there's no way that Jeffrey Epstein's plug had a minimum of 500 grams of. Like, there's no way. There's literally no fucking way, dude. Right? So I'm not sure what the 500 to 1,000 means. I really don't think it's bulk. I see you guys saying bulk. That would make no sense for a million of these options. You think Epstein is like, yeah, let me buy 2,000 hits of right now? Yeah, let me get 1,000 at $11 a pop. Like, some of these prices make no sense. It can't be quantity. These prices would be asinine, dude. There's no way. You're telling me this guy is paying 27 per all the way up? Like, there's no way. There's no way. What's interesting as well is in the top corner here, I'll actually hide my camera for a second. You can see this is a delivery service, presumably in New York, because that's where he spent a lot of his time. But look, apartment or hotel delivery only. 6 p.m. to midnight are the hours. Right? Interesting. So this is his little plug delivery service, right? So let's go through the menu. So first and foremost, we have a gram of for $65. We're mainly just going to go with this left like corridor of pricing, right? I really like, listen, there's no proof of what these things are, like the 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000. There's no fucking way it's quantity. First off, there's no way you buy 2,000 grams of and your price break is $8 a gram. That makes no fucking sense. I would love for the FBI to come out and tell us what this is, you know, like what the 500 to 1,000 is, because it can't be pricing. That makes no fucking sense. Or he just has the worst plug of all time. I don't know. Now, what's interesting is he has what is labeled as pure yellow for $100 a gram. Now that's, I would love to try some of the pure yellow, you know? I would love to try some of the pure yellow. Hey now. Next, 0.2 grams of pure. What's interesting is this is not labeled as yellow right here. And it's clearly different from the top offering of just regular. So maybe this is another different, also pure one. And that he only sells by the 0.2. So it's probably extremely pure because I don't know who the fuck is selling 0.2 bags, bro. A 0.2 is like one little chop up, you know, for a little $20. A little, hey now, a little $20. Next up, we have both crystal and liquid, okay? 400 milligram bag for $60. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. Liquid, 1,000 milligram vial, $160. I mean, listen, presumably this is all like straight pharmacy shit. I would be stunned if Mr. Epstein is popping pressies, okay? So, like, we're just going to operate on the assumption that all of this is like the later on, all the, for example, we're operating on the assumption these are all straight out of Walgreens or some shit, you know? Maybe even backdoor of the factory or some shit. Next up, half a gram of DMT for $120. That's pretty expensive, no? I was never a guy, but that's fucking expensive. That is not cheap. $240 for a gram of that's really tax. That's insanely expensive. That's fucking crazy, dude. Next, a 4-pack of LSD blotter for $50. Chat, one of the richest Mossad agents and information brokers on Earth couldn't even pay below 10 a tab. Let's just accept that for a moment, okay? One of the greatest covert information brokers on the planet, one of the most evil men and richest men to live, could not get below 10 a tab. Let that sink in for a minute, dude. Let that sink in, okay? Next up, 2 milligram. Here we go, baby. We got the ladders. Now, when I was younger, I remember $7 being a very expensive price for typically, like, if you were paying $7, it was like, oh, that was off your homie's script. This motherfucker, Jeffrey, is paying $11 per, okay? $11 per. That is very expensive. Especially, you have to think for the standards of when this was. There's no date on this list, but this was, I mean, the guy died in 2019. This was like at the latest, probably in the mid-2010s, right, is when this list is from. That's a very expensive fucking right there, right? That is a very expensive chat. Next up, a lot of the prices are similar, and both also $11. Interesting. If they're all priced the same, buddy, I'm popping. Fuck all that other shit. Keep the. I'm dude in the department. There's a clear winner. Okay, there's a clear winner. Next, here we go. We're getting into, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey also had available to him 10 milligram for $16. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad for a real, like, actual script. That's actually not a bad price. That's not bad. I was never super into. I was never like really tapped in with like the plug and everything, but I've done before. I've been around people who've done them all the time, and that's not a bad price for a real one, especially. Presumably, everything here is like actual pharmacy shit. That's legit, you know. We also have $16 for the Viking. Interesting how they're priced the exact same. Morphone, 8 milligrams for $20. Right? Here's where it's about to get fun, dude. We're getting down to the, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The whole shebang for a 30 milligram. This isn't even the fun yet. $32. Okay. They're sought after. Even back in the mid 2010s, they were still very sought after. These have been sought after for probably 20 plus years now, and they've been expensive pretty much the whole time. So that's not really too surprising. Now, the fun I'm talking about is the 80 milligram. That's the fucking big dog. Okay? That's the big boy V. That's what we call straight addiction. You don't have to inject it. Just pop an 80 milligram and you're immediately fiending. Okay? To my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, that is the highest dose they ever manufactured, the 80. Those were the big dogs. I knew people who, back when I was in high school, I had a select few friends who were able to get, they wouldn't take them regularly. None of us could afford that. And I've never seen an 80. I've never seen an 80. Nope, they have 120s. Really? Are those like name brand though, or is that a generic? Because I don't remember ever seeing an actual name brand anything over 80. Are those name brand or no? Really? Interesting. I'm so grateful I never got hooked on that. Dude, uppers and bars were my shit, dude. This whole category is fucked, dude, with all the options and shit. My ADHD would have killed me, dude. Being an addict, I would have tried them all, dude. I would have been fucked. But either way, 80 milligram for $56. That's a very expensive, dude. That is a very expensive. That is very, very, very expensive, dude. But I mean, in terms of like the category, you don't really beat, you know, you just don't. Next up, once again, $65. That's actually more expensive. The Opana specifically. I've heard of that brand before. Next up, we have, which is an interesting thing to have on this list. Recovery clinics will sell it to you, and plugs will also sell it to you. What does that say about? Hey, leave it open for interpretation. All right, $12 for 10 milligrams. I know literally nothing about dosage, so I can't really speak on whether that's good or not, but he's got it. His plug's got it, you know? Next up, we have 60 milligrams of... Listen, it's one of the most worthless for recreational purposes because, like, specifically when you get it in the pretty weak comparatively. Like, they're very, like, I remember when I was younger, I had a friend who, his name was Michael. This was not like the nickname Michael, like his real name is Michael, and he would have like, he always had some sort of script. I think he was robbing his grandma's medicine cabinet, but I never really asked any questions. But he regularly would have buzz out, and it was the weakest. That Michael's I would only take when I was desperate. I'm like out of money. I'm like, dude, I have no smoke. Give me a fucking... And like, dude, they're pretty weak. They're pretty weak comparatively. You know, there's for the recreational users, there's better. Here we go. All right. You know what's gonna piss me the fuck off about this, chat, is that there's actually two things that are gonna piss me off. A, in this era was not very hard to get a script for. There's no testing behind ADHD. Like, you literally go into the doctor. At least this is what I did when I was younger. I went to the doctor and I was like, doctor, I can't stay focused on the board. I find myself looking away. My eyes dart around the classroom. I don't absorb the information. Immediately revved up that script instantaneously. And I almost exclusively sold my... I would snort some of it and hook friends up with it. I almost never took it as prescribed. I would occasionally, but like most days, I would not take my as prescribed. And my prescription for was nuts. Let me tell you guys this. I was prescribed 3 per day. I was to take a 30 milligram extended release in the mornings, go through my school day, then take a 20 milligram instant release in the afternoon of school as like a little booster. And then once I got home from school around 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., I was supposed to take my final 20 milligram. And I was like 14 years old and had never gotten high before. So I was wired the fuck up on basically my whole freshman year of high school. And I hated that. So I started selling them to all the kids in the AP classes and stuff. And I thought I was making a killing, bro. I think the most I ever got for an was like $15. And I thought that was killing it. I would normally charge people anywhere from like $5 to $10 for my... I was not greedy with it. I was honestly too generous in retrospect. And look, these prices pissed me the fuck off. If I got 27 for my 30s, I would have been the richest guy in my class, dude. I would have been... Dude, I had 90 fucking a month. I would have been making like $2,500 a month off at these prices, okay? And instead, Jeffrey's plug steals my glory, okay? So, you kids got off lucky, all right? All you kids who did my back in the day, all right? You kids got off lucky, all right? But 20 milligram for $18, that seems pretty expensive. 30 milligram for 27, definitely pretty expensive. But, you know, I think it's one of those, like, people don't really buy for recreational purposes. It is, like, used by responsible people to do responsible shit. So, like, you can really tax. Because the typical person buying is not a addict. It is not your average, like user, you know? It's just like some guy with responsibilities. So like, yeah, run that shit up. Press Addies are so cheap. Well, yeah, but you're just doing like, don't buy pressed Addies, please, dude. Just buy the real ones. I in today's day and age, I would just never consume a pressed. I would never fucking do it, dude. There's just no way. Like, if I'm not literally like getting the bottle from the pharmacy myself, I'm not consuming that. It's so fucked nowadays, dude. Bring back the days where the worst thing in a press was filler, okay? We need that. We need that. Next up, you have Dexedrine, 5 milligrams for $9. That's actually the cheapest item, by single item on this entire fucking list, so wonderful. Dronabinol, 10 milligrams. What is that, chat? What is that? I actually don't know what that is. FDA-approved synthetic form of THC. What? Wait, I just Googled it. I've never heard of this in my life, chat. Read that. I'm just going to throw myself in the middle. Dronabinol is an FDA-approved synthetic THC. Fascinating. I've never heard of this in my life. Common side effects include dizziness, confusion, and drowsiness. It's classified as a Schedule 3. That's nuts, dude. Dude, Schedule 1 forever. And then the big pharma was like, okay, what if we synthesize it? And they're like, all right, yeah, we'll make that a lower class. Because, like, that's safer. That's crazy. Wow. I've never heard of that in my life, actually. Okay. Well, this guy has synthetic THC on his thing for $24 for a 10 milligram. Dude, $24 will get you a few nice ass, bro, especially in these days. Like, actually, no, I take that back. It was way more expensive. This was presumably, I'm assuming like mid 2010s. Yeah, it was way more expensive 10 years ago. So actually, I retract that statement. That might not have been a horrible deal. One of the most tragic, well, I guess double-edged sword. One of the most tragic and great things to happen to was the absolute nuking of the price of a pound of ever since like recreational went legal across the country. You know, that's shit got crazy. Next up, 500 milligrams. Okay, what do we have? $80 for 500 milligrams. This motherfucker was getting taxed, brother. This guy was getting straight worked. Half a gram of for $80? This guy was getting jugged and finessed. To be fair, though, yeah, NYC and delivery prices you have to factor in. So everything here is going to be a little elevated. You know, they're bringing that shit straight to your 5-star. Straight up to your hotel. You got room service, fucking. All right, I'll pay 80 for the half gram. You know, fuck it. But yeah, I mean, dude, come on now. 80 for half a gram is honestly one of the most egregious prices I've seen on this whole list. Like, that's crazy. Tabs were kind of bad, but not too horrible. The prices are actually surprisingly solid. Like what they advertise as the pure for 100 a gram. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty solid. But yeah, the prices are pretty fucked. Then we have two different types of at the bottom here. We have the white 420 and the red G-spot. Each of these were $16 per, presumably like a 0.2 dosage or something like that. I don't know. And last but not least, this boy had his erectile dysfunction medication for $40. Fuck it, dude. You got to get that shit up. You know what's really interesting, though, is look at the half-lives on these that they're reporting on this list. What really raises my eyebrow is what they say the half-life is for LSD. 1 hour inject. Look at this. This is category, half-life, and route of consumption. They're saying that you should inject your... These guys are shooting up in their hotel room and committing sex crimes. This is a different... This is a whole different world. This is a glimpse into a whole different world, okay? Let's see. Let's look at some of these other ones. These are very interesting. Snort, there's... You know, we have the everything, painkiller, stim down here. Interestingly, they're saying to snort that. Interestingly. And they're also saying the half-life is 6 hours when snorting it, which is, some of these numbers are strange to me. Like, okay, I don't know what injecting LSD does. I've never gone that fucking hard with it. So, like, maybe the half-life is shorter, whatever. But I've snorted many times, and I know for a fact the half-life of that shit is not 6 hours. So, like, some of these numbers, I don't know where they're getting them from. The stim numbers, the half-life numbers are a little weird, but I mean, dude, this is a crazy list, chat. What do you guys think, yo? Are you guys got a better plug than Epstein? Outrageous prices. Yeah, some of these are okay, and some of these are nuts, dude. Like the prices are actually solid. Pretty much everything else on this list is fucked. But I mean, rich guy hotel delivery tax in New York City, right? This is the Manhattan tax for sure. You got to realize, like, this is probably like this type of menu. Your average plug is not printing this. Like, this is something this guy's probably exclusively serving like some of the richest clientele in New York City. These are the CIA and Mossad prices, okay? But chat, hey, regardless, yo, we're more tapped in than Epstein, all right? We pay better. Hey, we don't pay no $11 per... We don't pay $12.50 a tab where I'm from. We don't. Not a chance. Do we pay that, dude? Not a chance. Can we talk about this plug being the stupidest man ever for making menu? Let's be more self-incriminating. I mean, there's a certain level of wealth you can achieve in America where like crime is legal, and like I'm gonna assume that the dealers serving multimillionaires and billionaires in the heart of Manhattan is probably at that level. Like, there's like, dude, rich, like the real actual 1% rich people do whatever they want. Laws aren't for everybody. Laws only apply to people like us, chat. If I printed this list off and distributed it, I'm going to prison for the rest of my life. If Epstein's plug prints this and distributes it, he's getting the greatest lawyer of all time and getting probation. Okay? Like, laws for thee, not for me, you know? I want to see this guy's updated menu if they know who this is. I want to see this guy's updated menu, dude. I would love to. You think he's got a Telegram now? This is old school shit right here, dude. Honestly, I would even argue, someone earlier said this is really incriminating, but I would actually argue that, like, for the era especially, this might be a better way to do it. I mean, just don't get your DNA on the paper, you know, wear gloves when you print them off and distribute them, and, you know, maybe, like, anonymously mail them to people, just drop them in a post office box or something like that, and, like, you know, you could easily, this is probably safer than running a digital channel for this, way safer. Like, how do you, like, trace this? You know, if you wear gloves when you hold the paper and you drop it off in some random post office mailbox, you know, this is far more secure, I think, than, you know, running a fucking Telegram channel or something. Def a Big Fish. Yeah, this guy's the GOAT, dude. This guy's the GOAT.